Hello and welcome to UTB Blogcast number 86. There's just a few of us this time. We've got Wayno, Roy, Dave, me, and Erica will be joining us soon. So say hi, boys. There we go.
Hi, boys.
Hi, boy.
Hello, boys.
See, she's going to yell at me for screwing it up again. So, hey, what do we have going on? What's first on the list there, Dave? Wake up, Dave.
Dave's not okay. Dave's digging
Dave's
around in the massive expanse that is his empty memory, clearing away the cobwebs. And let's talk about Uncle Brad's visit to see the Kunix Jaguar.
Yeah, actually, I guess I could have just started with that, huh?
Yes.
So I got invited to go see the Kunix Jaguar. Wait, how did you say it, Dave?
I said Jaguar.
QNX.
See, that's how I say it.
I said Kunix, and Jaguar. And there's multiple interpretations on either one of those things.
Yeah, I took a lot of flack for how I say it, though.
And how do you say it, though?
I say Jaguar, but apparently I'm supposed to Jaguar. I don't know. Everyone's used to seeing Bigley's favorite show or something.
Jaguar.
Yeah, I guess I'm not fancy enough.
Jaguar.
But what was fancy was that car.
Huh.
So I got invited to go see the car and meet Grant, and it was awesome. I really hate my camera work on that. The video, all that we see in that video is just reflection and glare. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, and I didn't see any of that reflection or glare. It looked perfect to the naked eye. But for some reason on my camera, it was just all glare. But the menus that are in there were really cool. Everything starts out with just like a little circle. And it's real minimal, but real fancy looking. And I loved the menus that they used. But we're never going to see those menus because they allow the manufacturers to put their own UI, their own menu, all of that on it. So it's just as you're looking at it and you're seeing Kunix branded everywhere, it's like, man, I wish we could see that. But that's just not going to happen anytime soon.
No, I think that there's probably zero manufacturers that don't want to put their own style, panache, and finish on it. So it's like BB10. That's the GUI for what's underneath Kunix running the phone type deal. But Ford puts their thing on it, and other people put their thing on it, and you end up getting exactly what you see or saw, but with a different look.
Yeah. But I mean, really, you think about it, you have your Google Auto and your Apple Auto, whatever they call it, Apple CarPlay. But I mean, granted, those are just apps that sit on top of Kunix. It's just like, man, I would love to see BlackBerry Kunix, I'm sorry, grab that kind of name recognition to where you would want that in the cars, to where you'd see the car dealerships advertising that they have it. Like how they're advertising these apps that run on top of Kunix right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you never know. Maybe the buzz term that goes around here anyway, BlackBerry Secure or whatever. Maybe that'll get a foothold deep enough or strong enough for people to just go, hey, why not just do what they did? It would be great to be able to have a choice. Hop in your car out and push this button, I'll do it the Ford way. Push this button, I'll do it the BlackBerry way. It would be cool to get choices.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll be seeing the BlackBerry Secure popping up probably soon. Because, I mean, you look at this WannaCry and all of these other major hacks that are taking place. And there's a lot of articles out there, a lot of posts out there talking about how, this has been great for BlackBerry. You see BlackBerry's name mentioned a lot. So I'm telling you, as these hacks occur and as people are hurt, and I I think it's going to be good for BlackBerry. And I think this is nothing but good for the BlackBerry Secure branding.
Yeah, well, there's no thinking about it, although we're sort of wandering off topic a little because I want to hear some more about your visit. But it's already doing good things for BlackBerry if you check out the stock prices over the last couple of weeks. But going back to your visit there, I'm not sure. I mean, I watched the video and I thought it was great, and I really loved the way the guy or Grant was showing it off. He had a really good rhythm and a really good flow. You almost didn't need to ask questions because
I didn't, not at all.
He just needed. He just knew exactly how to flow through the demo. But how much time did you spend in that car in relationship to the amount of video that we saw? Like, I know that there was some stuff that sat on the cutting room floor after, but
there was very little. Like, because honestly, they told me, like, I met them at I believe it was called Pier 21 at the Embarcadero, which is just like kind of a touristy, kind of nice, right there on the beach place in San Francisco, this long street. And like, I honestly don't recall if I've ever been there before. I had no idea where I was going, and going into San Francisco, it's not the part of San Francisco I'm used to seeing. So I'm just trying to find the place, and I was late. I was running late because I had went by BlackBerry headquarters beforehand, which is another story. But so I find a parking spot, and it's this little, really like a warehouse that they've turned into a parking garage. Come running out of this place and just start heading down the street because that's where my phone told me to go, right? And I'm going by, and I see a restaurant that says, I think it was Pier 21, right? Is that what I said? So I see a restaurant that says Pier 21. And it's like, okay, I'm headed, the right direction. And the next place I see is like Pier 23. And it's like, well, where am I? Right? And this restaurant where I parked and the restaurant were literally next door to each other. So I go walking back to the restaurant. I'm looking to find the actual pier. And as I'm standing there, I email my contact at QNX who is meeting with us. She's the one that set everything up. And it's like, I'm standing in front of a restaurant. I don't think I'm at the right place. Hit send. And then I turn around. And when I turn around, I'm standing directly in front of the QNX Jag with a giant BlackBerry flag standing next to it.
You know what, Brad? It kind of sounds like you were, under peer pressure.
No, but it was awesome because, what you see on the video is essentially the amount of time that we set in the car. I cut off one little section, and part of that little section ended up at the little outtake I put at the end of it. But the minute I met them, we went into the restaurant, and we sat down, and I talked to them for 30, 45 minutes. And that was the first thing he asked us, well, what do you want to know? And, here I am. I'm not a car guy. I really know nothing about Jags. I know nothing about cars, but I love my gadgets and I love anything BlackBerry. So I told him, tell me everything. And he did. I mean, it's like the amount of information that he gave in the car, he probably gave more information as we're sitting down in the restaurant, and I wasn't recording. I mean, I was recording audio, but I wasn't recording video. And it's like, I really wish I just would have included that. It was, the amount of information he gave was awesome. And yes, he's definitely an engineer, right? He knows his stuff. He is part of everything QNX. But he never made me feel stupid as he's describing it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not an engineer. It would have been very simple to leave me in the dust behind as he's explaining this. But he made it very understandable for me. And
yeah, no, you can tell that he's the kind of guy that they would happily use to show prospective auto customers, and any kind of user that was interested. He knows how to talk to people. I found it quite enjoyable and was easy to follow.
Let's say, as I'm sitting there waiting, because they were with another media group when I showed up, and so I waited for them to get done, and your typical California non-club affiliated biker pulls up. Gigantic, loud Harley, as loud as he could make it. Parks directly next to the car, and hops off. He's got his old lady with him, and the guy's all in leathers, tattoos, full sleeves, loud, vulgar, exactly what we expect from all of our California non-club affiliated bikers, because the club affiliated bikers, they're not loud and vulgar like that. They're not trying to call attention to themselves. This guy was all about calling attention to himself. So as I meet with Grant in the restaurant, we talk. As we're coming out the same time that this biker is. And this biker has got to be, 2 to 3 heads taller than me and Grant, and goes immediately to the car, and he sees Grant. Grant's dressed a lot nicer than I am, and he's, "Oh, this is your car," and he starts in, and I'm just like, "Oh, great, here we go. Here's a nice, polite Canadian who's going to get shaken down by one of our California bikers, right?" And I'm just watching, thinking this isn't going to go well. No, Grant fully engages this guy. I mean, he walks right up to him, having a great conversation, talking about the car, talking about the guy's motorcycle, and it was just hilarious to see, because I'm just like, this guy's so polite, and here's this vulgar motorcycle guy, and Grant just has a great time with him. It was awesome.
You know what, Brad? I'm now concerned that this particular biker might be watching.
Oh, just thinking the same.
No, he was so interested in the car, and it was great. It was awesome. I wish I would have recorded that, but that's what the outtake was the biker driving away. He was right next to the car, revving up his motorcycle as loud as he could get it, driving off.
Yeah. Too much fun.
Good times. But before that, I got invited to go by BlackBerry's headquarters in California before I went to meet with Grant in the car, and met with Eric Lai, who most people should recognize from Inside BlackBerry. And he took me on a tour around the office. I met a bunch of people at BlackBerry that it was truly awesome. It's the people that we write about, that you end up meeting face to face. And I got to admit, I was starstruck. It's like as we're walking through the place, and I'm seeing, because there were a lot of people that weren't there that day. So there's a lot of offices that we walked past with the names that any of us here would recognize, and we're just walking by their office. That was kind of funny. We're walking by, and I'm like, "Oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person." It's like, this is awesome that I'm seeing all this. And then we pop into an office, and I'm standing face to face with Marty Beard, and that was like, I'm here in California. I'm nowhere near Hollywood. I'm nowhere near that section of it, but there's a few minor celebrities that I've met, and it doesn't bother me, right? I don't really care. The ex-drummer of Black Sabbath is at all of my family holidays. So it's like I'm not used to, but I've met a few people in my life. That was the first time I've ever been taken off guard. It's like, whoa, there's Marty Beard, right in front of me, because I wasn't quite sure that that's where we were going. Everybody there was so amazing, so gracious, because here I am, Brad from UTB. I'm nobody. I'm nobody important. And every one of these people were so quick to jump up and shake my hand, and I mean, just gracious. It was awesome. It was a great day for Brad. The part that sucked was having to drive back home.
Right on.
So Erica joined us.
Hi.
Okay, well, at least her avatar did. I wasn't sure she was there. But...
I'm here.
So we went through my visit, Erica. Do you know where we're at now?
No, I have no clue.
Should we?
You guys are supposed to pick up the slack when I'm busy.
I talked. I did my fair share of talking. I just want to let other people talk. How about we let Roy talk? We have a bit of an announcement. Do you want to say it now? Come on, you're already grinning. You want to say it? I'm sure people have tuned in just to see what the announcement is.
If you insist. Next Friday, I think it's June 2nd on 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Pacific time, isn't it?
It's not your time. I think it's Eastern Time. It's
Eastern,
New York time.
4:30 Eastern.
Oh, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 my time. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We will have a very special guest. Is the president and general manager of TCL Communication North America. You probably will know him by the name Steve Cicciuli. So we will have Steve Cicciuli. I'm Israeli. I don't have this. I don't know how to pronounce it.
He's from Barcelona.
Steve Cicciuli, and we will talk with him about the Key One, about BlackBerry, about TCL and BlackBerry, and a lot of other stuff. And it's going to be very, very, very fun and interesting. So you need to book your calendars for next Friday.
So next Friday, it's going to be yet another UTB Blogcast special with the. You gave a different title. I thought he was CEO of BlackBerry Mobile. What title?
No, I'm just reading what his bio on Twitter. President and General Manager of TCL Communication North America, the company behind Alcatel and BlackBerry mobile devices.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
That's official.
Well,
right on. Having Cicciuli on.
Seems we're making a bit of a habit of these special guests lately.
Hey, that is a habit that we need to keep up.
I can't.
I'm very happy with that habit.
Whether people are feeling sorry for us or or what? I'm kidding. It was a joke. Lighten up. Or something.
Yeah, we can move to next topic, please.
Now, Roy, while you're on the subject of Steve, he posted a tweet today. You want to go on about that?
I posted a tweet?
No, Steve did.
Steve did, yeah. I'm still not Steve. Yeah, Steve Cicciuli tweeted about five tweets about the North America Key One release. Started with that they have more news, and after that he said the demand for the Key One on Rogers is the most biggest reservations ever Rogers got for a BlackBerry device. So I don't know what is the best-selling device for Rogers ever.
I think it's definitely
it's the most. It was the most pre-orders for a BlackBerry device, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that clear.
I think the Key One just moved to third place for a BlackBerry device on Rogers, and the Key One will be on sale in a few days in the USA, available through different retail channels. So no word about carriers, but we will definitely see the Key One on I think stores like Kmart or Walmart or things like this, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because he mentions retail partners and there hasn't been any mention of carriers so far. So it could be something that ends up, yeah, right, for the US. It could be something that we end up seeing the carriers breaking out with it a little later than after the release date, or I'm kind of hoping, what I hope to see is that we see it available for all carriers the day of release. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think some of the carriers will get it. I don't know, but also just knowing TCL and their method of selling that I've seen here in the US, I'm thinking that we're going to see the Key One at like Best Buy. I think we may see it at maybe a Walmart. I think it'll be actual retailers where we will see it being sold unlocked. I hope unlocked, because unlocked would there's a good part and a bad part, right? Because if it's sold through the carriers unlocked, carrier free, then we can expect the updates, right? We can expect the updates to come through without being bottlenecked by American carriers, which our American carriers do, and make sure that our BlackBerry phones keep their utmost security. But at the same time, that kind of hinders a phone here in the US, because so many people in the US are used to buying through a payment plan through a carrier. You know, we don't have the subsidies anymore, but we still have the payment plan. And I just, like, personally in my day-to-day life, I don't know anybody around me that goes out and pays full price for a phone. I really don't. And I just have a feeling that's pretty common. I'm saying in my normal day-to-day life here in California, Dave, you know, we're the people that are even more liberal than you live.
Well, I got to hand it to Rogers, because they, up here in the Great White North, I got to hand it to Rogers for being right up front and, you know, waving the flag for this device. And I'm on TELUS here, and of the three major carriers, they've got the weakest effort, and they've always been right up front, even better than Rogers historically. And like for me, if I want one, I have to go through the business channels. Now I can do that because my TELUS account happens to be a business account, but if I was just you know, a regular consumer type kind of user and on TELUS, I'm not so sure how I would acquire this particular piece of machinery. So, you know, anyway, just kudos to Rogers. Way to go, guys. And hey, TELUS, wake up. Smell the coffee.
I think the Rogers are the first, I don't want to be wrong, but they're the first carrier in Canada that actually supports BlackBerry from the beginning. I think they sold BlackBerry modems in the beginning.
Yeah, that could
TELUS,
be.
yeah.
That could be.
You see more news about North America. I envy a little bit, but in America, so I got my Key One.
Yay! Congratulations.
Lucky
And
Roy.
I must say that the fingerprint scanner is the fastest that I saw ever.
Oh, it's so
And
fast.
So fast.
It's like instant. As soon as you put your finger on there, it registers it.
Hey, going back to the cells, have you guys heard of a retailer called John Lewis? I'm assuming it's probably a British retailer.
No.
John Lewis. No.
Yeah, that's the name on the site. Observation Junkie tweeted us earlier today. It's a site, says John Lewis. It's obviously a retailer. They've got the BlackBerry Key One on pre-order. And it looks like they sell all kinds of stuff: home and garden, furniture and lights, electronics, women, men, beauty. So I guess they sell people too. But on the Key One page, there's a note. Please note, due to high demand, we have to limit this product to 2 per person. I kind of like seeing that on a BlackBerry device.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a retailer is not going to limit what they're going to sell unless, number one, they're losing money on it, or number two, they're getting more demand for it. A retailer wants to sell everything they got as fast as they got it.
Yeah, but it depends on how many devices the retailer got.
True.
Yeah, and I'm a cynical person sometimes. and that could be construed as some form of marketing hype as well.
Yeah.
You know?
When you
Yeah, but on a retailer that sells this variety of items, I don't think they're going to focus on a BlackBerry phone as that's where they're going to put marketing hype. You know what I mean?
No?
Yeah, but
I don't.
when you are limited a product, any product, to 1 or 2 items per person, it's a marketing thing. People think, oh, it's a limited, so there must be high demand. So
Better go get mine.
yeah,
It's probably all
exactly.
those Aussies running out trying to get it shipped over to them.
Now that I've got my key ones, look,
Yeah, well, a
there's
few of them are getting it.
those rakes over there are I can only buy 2 of those, so I better get one of those rakes.
Yeah, and if I'm going to John Lewis and I buy a key one, I will buy a chair or paint to the wall or something. I will get a good price. Yeah.
Now, do you think that the reservations and the popularity of the device come down to the fact that it has been quite a delayed release, and the announcement was so long ago, and there's been a lot of media hype and things like that? Do you think that's played a part in the amount of reservations for the device?
I don't. You know what I think? I think it's a bunch of physical keyboard lovers getting the type of phone that they wanted, right? Because the first BlackBerry Android phone was a slider, and people either love sliders or they hate sliders, but there's a definite line there. And then our next 2 phones were full touch phones. I mean, this is a BlackBerry candy bar full keyboard phone. I think there's a lot of people that are excited to get their hands on it. Plus, it's TCL. It's a new manufacturer. I mean, I'm sure all of that's adding together, but I really think these are keyboard lovers going out to get their keyboard phone.
I think it's more than that, not just that, but in addition to that, and maybe even equal to that, is seems to be relatively astonishing or super happy battery life. You know?
What?
The battery life on that phone
Oh yeah,
is
Yeah.
Equal to, you know, the hype around the keyboard itself, maybe even more so.
that's true.
I didn't
And the
notice
fact that
if
this is the
Erica-
first. Oh,
I didn't notice if Erica talked about it in her videos, but the power center in the key one, I think it's part of Android 7. You can, it's like a DTEC app for your battery. So it tells you what you need to do to save the power. You can even set a game or apps that will manage his power use. You can manage the power use of your apps. A battery productive OS.
I was
Speaking
going
of the
back.
D-
This is also the first BlackBerry we've seen come out in a long time. I say probably since the Z10 and the Q10. That the story, the overall story of BlackBerry wasn't that they're going out of business, right? All the other phones, that's been the story that's been hammered into consumers' ears is, oh, BlackBerry's out of business, they're being sold, they're being torn apart. This is their last phone. I remember people were betting their lives on the fact that the Z30 would be their last phone. They were wrong. Sorry, Troy. But now the story isn't BlackBerry's gone, right? Now the story is BlackBerry's growing, BlackBerry's coming back, and I think that will play a big part of the story in the success of the Key One.
Yeah, it's a hopefully quite the kickoff to which should be a great game. Looking forward to some increased sales.
What were you saying, Wino?
Yeah, Roy mentioned the DTEC app, or the equivalent for the battery. But just on the DTEC, Roy noticed a few different changes on the Key 1 DTEC app as opposed to the DTEC app on the Priv. You want to go into that, Roy?
Yeah. Erica, did you notice that the DTEC app
Erica
on Android
didn't
7,
have a BlackBerry Android.
Erica, yeah.
Yeah, this is my first BlackBerry Android, so I don't know what you guys had before.
the DTEC app on the Key 1, I think it's for Android 7, it tracks more apps. It tracks all the BlackBerry apps. It tracks the Google app that I don't think it tracked on Android 6. And it even tracked DTEC app. So the DTEC app tracks is himself. It's pretty nice to see that now we can track everything that the phone's trying to do. Every app, I think we talked about it at Android 6 DTEC app.
And I concur with that because there was no difference on the DTEC 60 compared to the Priv, and so it's not a phone thing, it's an OS thing. I agree with you.
Yeah, you can track your phone app. You can see how many times your phone tried to search your contacts, and it's pretty amazing now that the DTEC app trying to find my location every time. I think we need to send BlackBerry an email.
Well, can you turn that off? That's the point.
I think yes. I didn't try. I trust BlackBerry.
There you go.
Now, can the DTEC app, permissions for the DTEC app, deny itself access?
It's all about security. If you want to give to be a real secure firm, you need to give access to everything.
If you want to be like the most secure, just take the battery out and be done. But come on. Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
John McAfee.
Yeah. No, he doesn't want to take it out. He wants to have a switch, a light switch on the back.
Same deal. Yeah.
Next topic, please.
From one dip switch to another.
Why don't we talk about the Qualcomm news that came out today?
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I missed that. So that they're actually getting more than was originally announced. Is that what happened?
Yeah, more than 100 million.
Yeah, it's 940. Yeah, it took a little dip today, but it's held over 11.
Did it really? Because I know when that first judgment came out, when we first heard the news, we saw a bit of an uptick on it. So I was wondering if we saw the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's been going quite well every day, and even if it opens at one level and dips a bit, almost every day it's held its own or gone up a little bit. Today was the first day I've seen in a while where it took a dip and stayed there, but not by much. But it's typical.
It's still up. It's still on 11, I think, $11.
Yeah, it is over 11. Has been for a while.
Yeah,
So
according to a well-known BlackBerry fan site that reported today, 815 million was the expected royalty payments, which went up to 940 million.
Yeah,
the $11.20.
yeah. So we're at
I didn't get a
11.11
bite
in
then.
closing, and 4 cents increase after hours.
He didn't buy it. Were you even listening, Brad?
What's that?
You didn't bite.
I didn't bite. I didn't.
No, he turned the camera off because it's his time with Yoda.
Hey.
What?
Yoda's too good for me.
Yeah. Or something.
There's dead air. There's dead air. What's going on here? Where's Dave with his, where's Dave with his vocabulary joke? Okay, good, Wayno. Good. Because I was, the reason I was gone for a minute was I had to message Wayno and he messaged me back. So that's all good.
Try reading the site once in a while, dude.
I saw the post. I just haven't read it yet. I was busy today. Wait. Aaron just said nobody wants my Yoda doll. Hold on. Hold on here. Wait.
I don't think this is going to end well.
Yeah, so we are going
Yeah,
to
let's
sit and wait.
have some dead air while Brad talks to the people in the chat room.
How about this Yoda doll? How about that one, Aaron? Would you like that one? Okay, just saying. Okay,
So,
go ahead.
anyway, I've been doing some videos of the Q1 lately.
Yes, you have, finally. I mean, yes.
And
Great
Yes, Eric.
videos, Erica. I'm glad you're doing it. Where'd you go?
I don't know. I think she went to go play them or something.
Erica? Oh,
She went
she
away.
actually disappeared halfway through.
This is what happens. This is why I shouldn't talk.
Well,
I
it's
don't even know
all,
So-
what
so
you
you were
all
saying?
here. I was about to say that I've been doing some Q1 videos lately. You know, trying to segue into
Watching
something to discuss.
And then after that, I was rude and said, yeah, and?
Well, because you're a jerk.
So what's the
You
next
are
video,
not the
Erica?
first person.
I'm joking. She's gonna kill me for asking that, so I won't.
Actually, no, because I have a plan for this weekend. I'm gonna do a video on the camera.
Right on. Yeah, you were
Part of the
posting.
reason
Well,
why. Part of the
You
reason why
posted
I was
a-
late tonight is because I was. Let me talk, Brad. Come on. You're always yelling at me for being quiet. Anyway, part of the reason why I was late tonight, I wasn't slacking off. I was actually out doing things for UTB while co-opting it for a family event. But I was on a night hike and testing the camera in low light. I got some really cool pictures of nature in twilight and in darkness. So hopefully you guys can see how that compares whenever I do my post in my video.
I always thought you were in the Twilight Zone more often.
Only when I'm doing the blogcast.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Well, that'll be interesting to see because as much as I love the camera on the D-Tech 60, which I think is excellent, it's still not quite there as far as low light goes. And I know you can fiddle fart around with it, but I'm much more of an automatic type shooter than I am the kind of guy that wants to fiddle fart around with, settings and this and that. I want to put my camera up there and I want to take a shot and I want it to work.
And I'll save my main comments for my video because I have trouble talking on a regular basis, so I don't want to ruin it and spoiler my own video. But there's some pretty easy lighting settings that are right there for you.
Cool.
So it's definitely convenient, more convenient than other phones. Because I'm the same way. If I have to tap a bunch of things to get the setting that I want, the moment's already gone. The picture's already lost.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
now, Roy,
so I have George in comments asked a question. What are your thoughts about the Forbes article 2 days ago that Android OS is going to eat QNX's lunch? does Android OS still run on top of QNX just like Android Auto? And you know that I had read, I don't think that article was just from 2 days ago, because, or maybe it was just the Google I/O. They had done their thing the day before I met with Grant. So I did ask him his thoughts on that. I was like, does that worry you? And he's like, no, not at all. And it looks like, from what I'm getting, that the Android OS that they're creating for automotive, it looks like that is an infotainment system, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to be running any critical systems, which QNX can and does, and will be growing even to do more so of that. But with the QNX hypervisor, one of the things that they're able to do is they're able to run those critical systems, and they're able to run the infotainment, and they're able to do those completely independent of each other on the same CPU. And that's what he explained. It was in that video. He actually talked about it for a minute, and he talked about it a little bit more when we were sitting down talking. If a car manufacturer wants to put another infotainment system in, QNX is actually completely okay with that. You know, they'd rather than be using their infotainment system, but they're totally okay with that. The hypervisor will allow the critical systems to be run by QNX, which nobody can touch as far as QNX is concerned. As far as controlling, they've got the history, they've got the platform, they've got an exemplary record, right? And they're in more cars than anything else. But the hypervisor will allow the manufacturers, if the manufacturer says, you know what, I want to try out this new Google OS as my infotainment system, it can just run right on the hypervisor in the same car that QNX is in. It won't make any difference to that. And it won't be able to affect any of those critical systems. So, I mean, really, I think more competition is actually good in this case. And at the same time, I have no amount of faith in Google being able to put out a product that is as safe as QNX. And QNX is set up in such a way that, or that the QNX hypervisor is set up in such a way that they can keep everything safe in the car while you can use the Google or whoever else comes. He was talking about, and I forget the name of the other system, but I guess there's an open source, it's an open source infotainment operating system out there, and they do run that on top of the QNX hypervisor now. So it's not really an issue.
Right. So to be clear, basically or fundamentally, the QNX is running, as Brad says, the QNX or the critical systems in the car, and that's stuff like the brakes, your accelerator, even stuff like the environment in the car, the noise suppression, those kinds of things. That's the critical things, and those are completely separated from what you'd want to run in a non-critical fashion, which is sticking a CD in your dash or Bluetoothing your phone to play with Spotify or any of those kinds of things, non-mission critical systems, and they're completely separated from each other. So what can Google do to be as safe, dealing with your brakes and things? I don't know. I wouldn't be using Android for it.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Plus, the QNX OS is actually certified safe to do things that nobody else is. There's like certain things that we don't think about, like I've never thought about, and he kind of dropped in passing is right. Like there are automobiles out there, or your dashboard where it's showing you your miles per hour and all that fun stuff in a digital form instead of a dial form. But those safety lights and things that pop up, those are still LEDs behind that panel because they're not certified to be able to use that LCD for the the safety lights for those things, whereas QNX is. So I mean, it's little things like that just it tells you how much farther along QNX is than any of their competition.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a factor of that. It's the same as getting certifications in communications for Department of Defense or whatever the hell it is. There's associations that have already figured out what you should or shouldn't or are allowed or not allowed to do in a vehicle. And QNX has more history and capability in that space than anybody else. And that's not to say that somebody else can't come along and eat your lunch. We all know that story. But you know, how deep QNX has gone, that's a pretty tough competitor. He said.
Yeah, thanks for that question, George. Hey, Blackberry Brad's in comments too. Hey, Brad, the other Brad. Wait, no, what's up, buddy?
Getting back to the key one. I want to know Roy's experience so far with it. I know he's only had it for 2 days now, but you're coming from the Priv. So, what difference with it compared to the Priv? What do you like about it compared to the Priv, or dislike about it? What have you noticed are the biggest changes to it?
The keyboard. When I first start typing, and Erica will agree with me, I felt like I'm typing on the Bold 9900 or any other Bold, and it feels great. I never stopped typing on a physical keyboard. The other stuff are pretty the same. It's the OS, it's a little bit changed, the notifications a little bit changed, the graphics. You can reply through BBM and those notifications through it, but the shortcuts are pretty amazing. I set up every shortcut that I can to do everything faster. I have the convenience key that in one click will open BBM, because I use BBM. It's the most usable app for me. Only 24 hours of use with this device, and I can say that the battery is the most amazing battery that I ever saw. I disconnected from the charger around 10 a.m. yesterday, and until I went to sleep around 12 hours later, it was on 87 or 86%, and I used it.
Now, with the convenience key, does that kind of become redundant now with all the keyboard shortcuts?
What?
The convenience key, is that really necessary with all the keyboard shortcuts?
No, it's not a keyboard shortcut. You can set it up different in other settings. And you have the fingerprint scanner that is amazing, very fast. I don't even open the device anymore with my PIN code. And almost every app is that's a mail. Every app almost support the fingerprint scanner, so it's basically very, very cool. When I go with it to the party that we had to the baby, everyone was amazed by the device, by how it's look and the keyboard. People really miss this keyboard.
Now, Roy, that party was for your kid, you know, not for you.
Yeah, I know. But he slept all the event.
And one of the guys in the Aussie group did, we were discussing it the other day. He got his one delivered and had set it all up and everything. And he was saying how amazed speed of the thing without any lag. And it seemed very, very fast. One thing I did highlight was that, you know, it's still basically a brand new device, so it doesn't have all the extra apps, files, and that sort of thing that tends to accumulate.
I think he had
on a device, but he did compare it to a priv that had just, he had it wiped, so it was basically a priv that was a clean slate, and it was still a lot quicker than that. So
when I set up the device, I basically load all my priv into the key one. And one more thing, the camera. I'm a selfie guy, and I took some selfies.
we noticed.
Wait, do you really want to tell? I don't know where you're going with this, Roy. I'm not.
No.
This is a family-friendly establishment.
No, it's not.
And the selfie camera is the best. It's amazing selfie camera. It looks like you picture.
I have a question. Who got a new dog?
Dave.
Who got a dog?
Not me.
Is it Dave?
I had the window open because it's been warm today. Or sorry, not the window, but the sliding glass door open. And the neighbor's dog is announcing its happiness that it's outside. Yeah.
So the dog is happy. Nice.
That's the rumor. Either that or things are pretty rough out there.
Oh, God.
Well, the first dog joke for Dave. And you know what interesting I want to talk? BBM got updated.
Yeah.
For BlackBerry 10.
Which that's a good thing.
And for BBM, yeah, and BBM Enterprise got update.
That one worries me.
I think Brad, yeah, and I think Brad loved this update, but with only one change, that it will be for consumers.
Say what?
I said that you will love the BBM Enterprise update for consumers, not just Enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah,
So tell us.
I'm kind of worried about it because there's a huge positive, and I also think there's a huge negative. And for me, if I was, and I'm not on BBM Protect, I'm not on BBM Enterprise, but at this point, personally, I wouldn't, just because what did you gain? Cross-platform video chat, which is huge. That's something that we've been begging for. Even those of us that really don't use a video chat just want it to be there between BB10 and the other platforms. But to get that cross-platform video chat, you lose your BBM groups. And that wouldn't be worth it for me. But you didn't have channels before. You didn't, well, there was a few updates back where you lost channels and stickers, right?
No, on BB10, even with Protected, you still had channels. Channels, stickers, you had everything. They're basically doing what they did with Android BBM when it sort of it was changed to Enterprise. So they stopped or converted the BBM Protected to BBM Enterprise, and that's when you lost channels, stickers, but you didn't lose groups. That's the difference with the BB10 version. Apparently, is you will lose groups. So I've been told. I was under the understanding that you lose group features such as the calendar and lists.
But if you look at the update list, it says that you lose the groups, but you have to start a group chat. And I mean, we know there's a group chat. We've all done it where you just invite other people to the chat, and they've really expanded the abilities of the group chats. They really have. I kind of want to try it on my Leap just to see if those things are there now, because on Android, you had, even within that chat, you had like the pictures like we have within BBM groups where you can go back and you can see the old ones. You had all those, you have that home screen just like you do in BBM groups, but that doesn't have the calendar, that doesn't have the lists. But I mean, it looks a lot more like groups, but it's not a group, you know. And it's like there's something about the groups where you have a group title and you invite people, and you can shut it down to where you can't invite people, and in group chats you don't have that stuff. I mean, like, I'm thinking about, because Wayno, you are on Protect, so it's like if suddenly you decide I'm going to turn on Enterprise, we lose you from the group, and if we want to continue having you in a group, we need to kill our group and start a group chat. That seems like there'd be a better way to do that.
It does seem like a step back, unfortunately. But that was part of the reason I was on Protected on BBM or Android BBM, and did try out the Enterprise version. And yeah, look, you know, it was all right, but it didn't suit me. I wanted access to channels naturally, because I'm posting UTB blogs to channels and things like that. So I wanted access to channels. I wanted access to the stickers, and you know, I've just reverted on the priv. I've just gone back to the standard consumer. Now I don't know whether it's going to be compulsory to switch over. I'm pretty sure it will be similar to what we did see on Android, where they basically made you change over to Enterprise BBM. So if it does come back to that, I think I'll just revert back to standard consumer BBM. And I think, unfortunately, you know, a lot of consumers that are running Protected, and I know quite a few of them, you know, if it comes down to losing those features, I think they're going to cancel their subscription, unfortunately.
Those are some pretty big features to lose. They really are. I mean, like, personally, I love BBM channels. I know that BBM channels haven't been that much of a success for BlackBerry, and I know it hasn't overtaken the general public, but I love my channels. I mean, it really is my primary social media is channels. And then groups, I mean, we wouldn't be here without BBM groups. We run the site off of BBM groups. And I just, the group chats, we've used them before. You know, there's been times I've been in little group chats with some of you guys, I'm sure, and other people, because it's stuff that, you know, you don't want to talk in the main group. You'll throw it into a little group chat to figure stuff out. And it's just not the same.
Well, I think it's somebody's decided to draw a line in the sand, and that line in the sand is obviously not coming from MTech. It's coming from BlackBerry themselves, who, excuse me, control the BBM that's on our BB10 handsets, and of course the Protected and Enterprise versions of it. So somebody there, you know, is drawing another line in the sand, and dearly love to get them on the cast and have a chat about what's up.
Not about WhatsApp, but about BBM.
Up, not app.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, just from what I've seen today, it seems to me like we now have BBM competing with BBM. And the reason I say that is, I mean, like, you look at us. We're all in a BBM group. All of us but Wayno, I mean, the ones sitting here, are all on BBM Consumer. And then you've got Wayno on BBM Protects or BBM Enterprise. And, you know, say Wayno has to have that for his job. He's an enterprise customer. BlackBerry is that we can use one device, right? So we have our enterprise, we have our private life. We can do it all on one device. This is the first time I've seen BlackBerry and make that dividing line to where it's like you would need two devices to get the full featured consumer side of BBM and to get the lockdown enterprise side. And like you did say, it was a step back. That's how I see it, Wayno, because that's the beauty of BB10 and everything going forward was we did have that. If you were an enterprise customer, you could have all your personal stuff. It doesn't mix, it doesn't mingle. You've got everything you need in the palm of your hands. And now if you're an enterprise customer, you're losing out on all those consumer features. I
think that
I don't like it.
I don't know whether they're going to have. I don't know whether they're going to have the two versions available. I know that on Android, you couldn't run the consumer version and also run the enterprise version. It was basically you could have both apps on the phone, but it would basically sign you out of one and into the other. You couldn't easily switch between them as such. Now, I don't know whether that is going to be the same on BB10, but I don't know whether, you know, BlackBerry are actually planning on getting rid of the consumer version on BB10, you know, due to the smaller market share now and everyone going to Android or iOS or whatever, you know, and a lot of the users that are still on BB10 are government enterprise users, that they might just step back from consumer BBM on BB10 and concentrate on just the enterprise version. I'm hoping that's not the case because there are still quite a few people that I know that are enterprise. They're just consumers using a BB10 device. And you know, like all the features in it.
Well, I mean, I get it. I get you're answering to your primary customers, which are your enterprise customers, right? And I guarantee you, enterprise customers, the businesses, the companies are not concerned about stickers. They're not concerned about channels. They're not concerned about social groups, right? I understand that, but those employees are. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, are you driving to have a people on two devices again?
Well,
No.
I think what you're alluding to is more the kind of place that where you get employed and they hand you a BB10 device. Here you go, and this is how it works, and here's the things you can do with it. It's not like you're walking in there with your BB10 device that you've always had running a particular way and expecting to keep it to be that way. You know,
but you can't. That was the beauty of BB10. I mean, how many people did we know that chose to have a BB10 phone over the Samsung or the iPhone that their company was handing them? And that's the beauty of BB10 is because of that. What's it called? I'm drawing a blank right now. The balance. Because of balance, you can have it all. You can have your cake and you can eat it and you can laugh at everybody else. You can have it all.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that went away.
It's like someone just took the frosting off your cake.
I think it went away. And I can't remember when. It might have been Bez 12 or 12 dot something. I think balance snuffed it.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I didn't take into account. If that was still, active, which I didn't hear anything of it not being, but if that was the case, you could still have your enterprise BBM on the work side of balance, and then you could have your standard consumer BBM on your private side of balance of the device. You know, because you can have apps on sort of both or either sides of your work or personal side.
I'll have to check it out
So
because
is
I still have my
No.
Z30 and I did set that up on what was back then Bez 12, and I had the work and the personal side.
I don't think that went
Yeah,
away, Roy. Roy, are you still here?
No, I don't think it did either. I've
No,
got a mate of
'cause-
mine that was talking about it the other month. He was setting it up and he was having issues on the work side of it. So I don't think it
Yeah,
has
okay.
gone
Because
away.
even on
So maybe
Android
that because
devices,
of that.
that's
Well,
what
I
Bez
think that,
brought. That's what, and I mean BlackBerry UEM. That's what it brings to the other platforms is your work side and your personal side. Right, Roy?
I think that BBM Enterprise is meant to be on BlackBerry Work. If you are an enterprise user, you will have BBM Enterprise in your container of what your work let you use, and when you exit this container of BlackBerry, you will use your personal apps, because you have notes and tasks in every app that you have for the personal use you have on your container. So why you need to use 2 notes app or 2 tasks app or 2 whatever apps? There are enterprise use and there is a consumer use. And when you use your BBM for enterprise on Android, you basically have 2 BBM apps on your device. One is on your container of the enterprise use, and one is on your personal regular use device. So they're not competing.
So,
Um,
no, I can understand that. You know, you could have both apps on a work and a personal side, but I don't run my passport on a, you know, with Balance having a work side and a private side. It's just, you know, I paid the subscription to get BBM protected for the, you know, the extra security and that in the chats and you know, it wasn't a big fee. I think it was $40 a year, you know, which wasn't really an issue. But so for users like me, where you're not using that balance feature of work and personal, then it does become a bit of an issue. Yeah, I think in that case you are going to be forced to go one or the other.
I think that on BlackBerry 10 it's worked a little bit different. The security layers are from not the BBM itself. I think it's from the servers, from the BlackBerry server. You have the security layers.
Mm-hmm. But that brings up a great point, and you know, when you talk about BBM protected, that's the answer to other competing platforms that are offering those messaging platforms with some kind of encryption or that kind of protection. And it occurs to me that BlackBerry needs to be offering more of those features and services to regular consumer BBM, as opposed to drawing that line in the sand and saying it's only for my enterprise users. Because that's sort of, it seems like it's sort of pushed that way. Oh, if you want this, you get this, and if you want that, you get that. And to me, encryption and things and protection and that should be for everyone.
Yeah, and we just need to remember that BlackBerry are enterprise company now, and in the beginning, BlackBerry, you can only have a BlackBerry if you were an enterprise user.
Yeah.
Consumers in the beginning didn't have the chance to hold a BlackBerry device unless they were enterprise users. So
Yeah.
I think BlackBerry going to this area again with BlackBerry 10.
Yeah.
Will be enterprise only.
Yep, but I think there's lessons to be learned. You know, if you're going to spin off or license, BBM for consumers off to the MTechs of this world, they should be encouraged and or almost mandated to offer higher forms of encryption and protection than what we're currently afforded. So things change. This world changes, and I think that needs to change. It's my personal opinion.
I think they will offer something like this on Android or iOS. I don't know if they will offer something like this on BlackBerry 10 in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, well, clearly the consumer BBM is, is a growing concern, and that's what I'm talking about. Because there's we all know people that are using other messaging apps for that reason. I, for one, don't want to be one of them. I would like to have that feature on my beloved BBM.
I don't think someone using WhatsApp because of its security features.
Well, nobody nobody goes there for that specifically if they know what they're talking about, because of the parent company that owns and purchased it. And it's like buying a box of matches to make sure that there's no fires in your house. The hell are you doing? But there, let's face it, there are other messaging apps out there that started from the ground up with those concerns in mind, and that's what I'm talking about. Not WhatsApp. No.
I'm sorry, man. I just hate the whole idea of that, because number one, I think that we should be able to, going back to the encryption debate and my stance on it, there's no reason why your phone should be the one place in your life that a search warrant can't be served, right? So I have an issue with that first off. But on the other side of that, on the flip side of that, you've got people going, oh, it's encrypted, right? It's end-to-end encrypted. This is safe. From a brand new company that's been around, who knows how long, that has absolutely no secure history. It's a new company. It's a new process. It's a new product. And meanwhile, you've got 20-year-old BlackBerry BBM that hasn't been hacked, that we know it's safe. So it doesn't have that end-to-end encryption. It's safe. We know it's safe. Why do we know it's safe? Because it's been safe for 20 years. And but people are putting their trust in these. I mean, there's a relatively smart person that we know that jumped from BBM to what was
Threema?
The name of that? Yeah, Threema. What the hell is Threema? I mean, really,
it's better than
Threema.
It's not a Threema.
He jumped to Threema because apparently Edward Snowden said, "Oh, here's a good app." It's like, use your brain, man. And this is somebody that is very security minded, right? Security focused. That's what he's looking at. I think he's afraid of his wife finding out things personally, but he's very into security. And so he jumps to Threema, and the website he sends me for Threema, here, come join me on Threema. It's a Chinese domain. And I mean, no offense to the Chinese, but I'm not going to trust your communist. I'm not going to trust your communist servers. Okay.
Okay. Let me get this straight. First, we've got a biker that's pissed off with Brad now watching us. Then we've got some guy that we all know and we haven't said his name yet that's watching us. Now he's pissed off at Brad. And now we've got the entire communist country of China that's watching us and is pissed off at Brad.
First of all, the first.
Right?
the first two I don't have to worry about because they're not on BBM anymore, so they're out of my lives. And I'm pretty sure the biker's not on BBM, and I know the other guy isn't, so that means I don't communicate with him anymore. And China, come on, I'm American. They're not going to like me.
You know, TCL are Chinese manufacturer, right?
But it's TCL of America, Roy. TCL of America.
But I think the devices are manufactured in China.
Hey, I trust Canadians. Come on. They both start with C. No, I don't.
I don't have
See if we can get even more politically incorrect.
The
Downhill in a heartbeat.
powerful financial country in the world, so I don't have any problems with the Chinese. I don't want any problem with them. So you won't see me speaking about the Communist Party. Damn you.
Okay, well, I don't know how we got on there. Yeah, it's probably my fault. Whatever.
Oh, and Threema is a paid app. You need to pay before you use it.
Okay.
It's not even
Maybe
free.
he's getting a commission. Maybe that's why he was after all of us to get on there.
Hmm.
So do we know anybody that followed him?
No.
I don't either. That's got to be really
I
lonely.
was
on
asked to,
Threema.
but no.
I hope it's got bots, so he's got somebody to talk to.
Okay, then.
I think we're done.
Yeah,
We covered
so
everything.
I will.
Uh,
No. Oh, I want to talk. We spoke about BlackBerry Enterprise and Russia blocked BlackBerry users.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well-
the same Pakistani Indian story again.
Yeah.
Not the only thing that got blocked, if I'm recalling correctly. There was more than just BlackBerry services.
I
Yeah, but
heard
they're
about
wanting
BlackBerry.
access that they can't have.
Yeah.
But when they talk about BlackBerry services, and I didn't delve into that particular article very deeply, were they talking about Biz as a BlackBerry service, or were they talking about
I think it's BlackBerry 10 only and BlackBerry OS if they're
what?
BlackBerry OS users in Russia, and not the BlackBerry Android devices, because they speak about BlackBerry World and some features that are not supported on Android, like the one that you located your device. Forgot the name.
Protect?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can't use Protect. You can't use BBM. I tried to send messages to my Russian friends on BBM, and none of them. All the messages are now on a V.
Oh,
not
wow.
on- Not on D. They can't receive any messages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what's happened when your country want to get control on all over the data of their citizens. But I'm not going to fight with Russia also. I will stop.
Yeah, we've already pissed off 50% of the planet. Let's leave the rest of it alone.
Yeah.
No, I from what I see on the news, we're best friends with Russia now, so it's no problem.
No, you share secret with Russia.
Right.
The Israeli secrets. So embarrassing.
You still love us though, right, Roy?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
After what one of our ministers did to Trump when he visited Israel. He took him for a selfie. So embarrassing. Man.
That,
Did it have anything to do with a wall, or?
No, but Trump go to the Western Wall and put a note.
Right now, Dave's sitting there wondering why a selfie is embarrassing. I mean, he's got Trudeau as a prime minister.
Yeah, not the prime minister, but when Trump...
He's the selfie queen, man.
He is.
Landed in Israel, you see all the ministers are waiting for him to shake his hands and tell him a few words. And he's not even a minister, I think. He's from the government. He just jumped in. He don't even been invited to this event. And he told Trump that his nickname is the Israeli Trump. The man is illusion, this man. And he just take a selfie with Trump when our prime minister is standing near him and told him, stop it, and continued his embarrassing act. So embarrassing.
I just want to know, are you calling them Trump on purpose, or is that just the accent?
The accent.
Okay, just check.
Because in Israel, we love Trump. Yeah.
You know, the whole selfie thing, can I just say how bad I wanted to and how hard I fought myself not to ask for a selfie with every single person I met from BlackBerry?
Yeah,
just saying.
I can imagine. Yeah. So we are ending this podcast.
We're ending it. We're ending it on a political flavor.
Yeah, somebody really needs to stick a knife in this one.
Yeah.
Let's remind people what we have coming up this week.
Yes, next week we have something a lot better than this. Steve Sestuli from BlackBerry Mobile.
BlackBerry Mobile.
Next week.
The president of TCL North America, TCT.
Yeah.
TCT.
Don't call it TLC. Yeah. Everybody likes to call it TLC, but
I keep hearing people do that too.
I know. It's not TLC, it's TCL.
They just keep chasing waterfalls.
Uh-huh.
Come on, that was it.
So we will do some promotion next week, and it's going to be, I think, one of the most interesting interviews we have on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. Get ready for some questions.
I don't know how we will answer most of them, but get ready.
It'll be great. I think before we end, I think Australia has blocked Google, but okay.
Australia blocked Google?
Yeah, Wayno's disappeared.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I was just going to sleep with all the political talk. Me.
Hey, at least nobody's voices have been raised.
Well, since Wayno's already sleeping, why don't we just go ahead and say goodnight?
All right. Good night, folks.
Have a nice kangaroo, Wayne.
See you guys.